it's Ivor. It is race day, probably the last one of the 2021 season. Oakland Grand Prix today, which is a criterium in Oakland, California. It is 4 turns, one of which is a 170-degree hairpin. It should be pretty interesting. Let's get it going. My buddy Drew is coming out today to check out the race. He's a pretty awesome musician and YouTuber. I'll link to his channel. I think it's going to be interesting to see what a non-cyclist thinks of the crit scene. I think it's pretty cool. I love the atmosphere. I love the environment. My role as a worker bee will be to go to the front and cover moves. The course is really technical. It's got a super sharp and very narrow hairpin on turn 1, so it's going to be a really punchy race. So covering moves all day will be really, really hard. I don't know how long I'm going to last, but I am going to try and see what I can do. All right, let's talk about race day nutrition. It's only 65 minutes, pretty short race, but as I mentioned before, it's really punchy, so I'm gonna be ripping through carbs. So I've got my oatmeal for breakfast, and then I've got carbs in the bottle, 60 grams an hour. Afterward, carbs and protein. It's kind of funny how race day has evolved for me, particularly on a crit day. It used to be the fact that I would get up first thing in the morning, super early, go there, race early, and be racing all day. But now that I'm just racing the P12s, which typically in a crit don't start until late afternoon or early evening, it's kind of a normal day, just all day with the anticipation leading up toward the race. Now I can't just sit around and do nothing. I've got my typical dad stuff to do, I've got stuff to clean, food to make, and then eventually I can leave for the race and do my thing. On the plus side, I've got some time to do some last minute bike maintenance that I forgot to do yesterday. So what did you guys think of the crit scene?
It was actually pretty fun. For it being an hour long and a race like around a course, I think the action kept coming by very quickly, so it kept me entertained the entire time, which was a surprise.
Nice. How about you? What do you think about dudes in Lycra on tiny tires ripping around the city at 30 miles an hour?
Dudes in Lycra? No. It was pretty awesome, actually. It was good to see you specifically out here doing the thing.
Google, find the nearest cycling store.
So the race, my legs were fine. Like nothing ever felt hard, but that's because I was literally sitting dead last for the whole race. My plan was to start at the front, go hard, cover moves, trying to get into a break. Coming off the line, I didn't get clipped in right away, and I was at the back. And I was there for a little while, and then I started pulling up a little bit, and I ended up right behind my teammate Greg, and he saw me and he was going to take me up to the front, so I got on his wheel, and about half a lap later we had moved up a long way. I got pinched coming into a corner. At least that was my perception of it, but I'm sure there was nothing sketchy at all. I just kind of lost my mojo and couldn't follow him. I just didn't have the nerve to follow him. And basically spent the rest of the race at the back. And it's a real bummer. I finished the race and I wasn't even remotely tired, which is just awful. I did nothing to help the team. And I feel horrible for it. Fortunately, it's only an hour drive home, so I won't be alone with my thoughts too long. Drew and Brit seem to have a good time despite my poor showing. Crit racing is pretty exciting to watch, I think anyway. You get to see people come by you a lot of times. If you're unfamiliar, crit racing in America is on a course that is less than a mile long, and generally the rate of speed is significantly over 20 miles an hour. In the P12 races, 25, 26, 27, 28 miles an hour are not uncommon. You know, if you're a spectator, they're a lot of bang for your buck. you get to see the race come by a lot of times. And these downtown crits, I think, are particularly fun. My buddy Drew works downtown, works basically on the race course. We were racing past one of his favorite coffee shops and also right past one of his favorite lunch spots. He's super familiar with the area, and then getting to see a bunch of people like flying by on bicycle seems like a pretty good time. I got up this morning and I just didn't have it. I knew I didn't have it this morning, and I thought, no, I'll just go. I'll show up and feel better when I'm on my bike. And I did, to some extent, feel better when I was on my bike. And when I was on Greg's wheel, I felt like, okay, I can do this, we're good. Greg's gonna take me to the front, and then I'm gonna drill it, and I am gonna help the team. As soon as I lost his wheel in that corner, all confidence was gone again. Motivation to move up was gone. I feel like I've got the bike racing equivalent of the yips. I just need to get out of my head and do something. I think it's really hard to convey exactly how bummed I am about my performance, and not my physical performance, because it wasn't that I couldn't physically do what I needed to do. My legs did everything I asked them to do. I just didn't bother asking them to do much. And that's the part that is really weighing on me right now. Like I was there for my team, and I let my team down. And that doesn't sit well with me. I had a lot more to give physically, and I just didn't. Anyway, I wanted to share this. You see a lot of race vlogs out there where they go really well. Maybe they don't win, but they're still in the mix and they're competitive. But this is about, for me, as bad as it gets. I would be feeling better right now if I had gotten dropped, or if I had done my job and I blown myself up chasing down breaks. If it was my fitness that was the problem, it would be easier for me to take, because I know what to do to address my fitness. It's not just that I let my team down, which I definitely did, but I mean, I took time away from my family to come up here. I left my family to come up here and do this race, and didn't give it everything. I feel like I robbed my team and I robbed my family, all because I was too, I don't know, mentally weak to do what needed to be done. If I came up here and I tried and I gave it everything and I got dropped, that's different, because at least I tried. All right, I'm back home on my rest day walk with this guy. Yesterday is over and done with, and with it, the season. I'll have a 2021 season retrospective coming soon, but for now, it's time to move on into the off season and just have a memory like a goldfish. And maybe you're thinking, dude, it's just a bike race, get over it. And I hear that, but I would refer you back to some of the main reasons why I'm upset. I value the commitments I make. I made a commitment to my team. I said that I would be there for races, I would show up, and I would work. And I have a commitment to my family. If I'm gonna leave them to do something for me, I think I owe it to them to put everything I have into it. Anyway, that's enough about that. Time to move on. There isn't any sense dwelling on the past. But like I said, I do think it's important to share not just all the good stuff that happens, but the real and the bad stuff. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being on this journey with me. I would love it if you hit that like button. It really does help the channel. And if you haven't already, why don't you subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified when I release new content. But that's all for now. Thanks again, and I will see you in the next one.